going. Now we're going on the right channel.
Oh, we're on the correct channel now. Hold on, let me check.
Yeah,
Hold
we gotta
on.
check.
Now we're
We gotta
on the
check.
correct
Are
channel.
we
Yep,
going?
it is. Cool.
Okay, cool. I don't want to hear my own voice. Fuck that. Okay.
Oh my God.
Even though I have
Hi,
direct
everyone.
feedback on my mic.
I actually want to die.
we had
Too
some
bad, you don't get to.
technical difficulties, but it's fine.
We
worked
fixed
out.
it. Hello, welcome to the live stream for your viewing pleasure. We are gonna be reading some fucking fan fiction.
Hey, it's Rob.
Yeet yacht.
So basically,
It's super late.
We were waiting for something, and so we were just farting around, and we were looking up
Here,
crossover fan fictions, and we found this.
yeah, here at the Oran High School Host Club, we have started sort of a tradition between the director and a couple of voice actors here, and myself as the dungeon master, and we play a little bit D&D. We're currently working on a system called Made RPG, playing a little bit of that, and we're waiting for freaking Kaoru to get his ass in the game. I'm calling him out live on thing.
Shit.
Don't say it.
No, I know he's gonna watch it when he wakes
he's
up,
gonna be like,
and he's gonna see that I called him out live.
Yeah.
There is no.
Salty.
Yep.
Listen,
So
buddy.
so
it's
we're
okay.
gonna.
We understand.
Get
Yeah.
that
There's
sweet
no salt.
content.
There's no
Sonic,
shade.
I love
it's
you.
fine.
But
This is
basically,
We love
I,
you.
I love you, but schedules, you tiny boy.
Oh my God.
This
All
is the
right.
drama you were
So-
promised, people.
So let me explain. So we already read the first chapter, and if you have seen the Goblet of Fire, it's basically just that with Oron mixed into it. And if you don't know what Harry Potter is, wizards.
Yeah,
Sorry
wizard-
for you.
Okay. So
Wizard
who's gonna read
school.
the actual
I am.
text?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me.
Bree is narrator Kunsama.
Hi, my name. Oh, maybe we should introduce ourselves.
Yeah, just
Oh,
in
yeah.
case.
That's
Alright.
just, a side thing.
Yeah.
Go,
so-
important lady.
Oh wait. Hi. My
Yeah.
name's Bree, aka RT the Second. I play Haruhi Fujioka, and I'm currently very tired. next person.
Hi, I am Jen Desmer, and I voice Hikaru.
Yes.
And it's only 12, Bree. What you talking about?
Hey! I go to sleep. at
Time
night.
zones.
All right. Next up.
I guess that'd be me. Hello.
Oh my god.
I'm Mint Monster. I'm Mint Monster VA, also known as Mint Va, and I'm the co-director of this project, as well as the voice of Renge Hoshikuji. Thank you for being here, guys. We are all exhausted.
That's the truth.
Except me.
I'm pretty okay. Hi, how's it going? It's Shane, otherwise known as Corporal Canada. I play Tamaki Suo, otherwise known as Big Blonde Boy Bitch, and
Oh my god.
I'm here to
Dang.
entertain.
Big blonde boy.
We're here to entertain, ladies. Yep.
That's fantastic. Anyway, we should continue. So basically, what happened in the last one, they were talking about Tamaki making his own spell and him being like a beautiful boy. And then like all the Bobaton ladies like know who the host club is because
Oh, of course they do.
Renge, 'cause of
Yeah, they
Renge.
do.
And one of them-
Yeah.
they all know because of Renge, and one of them is Renge's cousin. So
Yeah.
that's fun.
I spread the word of the host club to all countries.
Basically. And then why the host club is there is because why the whole host club is there because a couple little boys were are eligible to be placed in the Goblet of Fire, but the twins and Haruhi aren't. But like there was a thing that like when the twins will be bored without everybody, and nobody wants to be around when the twins are bored. So and then they wouldn't go without Haruhi, so they're all there.
Yeah, because if Haruhi didn't join, then she'd have some more stuff added to her debt because she's
Yeah.
not being active
Exactly.
to the project. So yeah.
Okay. The question is, okay, so you know how Malfoy's dad is like a director at the school and he's like powerful and famous and shit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the same thing with who's like a director at Oron, right?
Mm-hmm.
if this is the wizard shit universe, who do you think would be more powerful? Mr.
Well,
Suo or
it's
Mr. Malfoy?
it's Yuzuru because he's the headmaster of the school. He's basically treated like all of the headmasters at the school. Like
So they're in the House of Suo.
Yep.
Over at Oron, they're in the House of Suo.
Yeah, basically.
And the girls over at St. Lobilia's are the House of Lobelia.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
It all makes sense now.
Everyone puts on the sorting hat, but it only puts them.
Exactly.
It's just like a tiny
Rip.
one of those little hats, and it's just put it on, and it just says Suo.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh god.
How do I change? Okay, there we go. There's my mic after 10 million years.
Hey.
All right, great. Okay, anyways, maybe we should
Figured
start
it
reading
out.
this fan fiction instead of giving fluff text to the last chapter.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Alright, here we go. Honey let out a squawk as the half-eaten cake before him vanished, and all the golden dinner plates became perfectly clean. Dumbledore... Oh, they're in the dining hall right now, by the way. Dumbledore stood up again. The Beauxbaton girls returned to the Ravenclaw table. An expectant tension now filled the hall, different from what had been at the Gryffindor table only seconds before. Some of the girls seemed to think Tamaki was kidding. Others weren't so sure, but all of that was forgotten as Dumbledore... What?
Oh no, Bray, you're having the technical issues.
You're because you're streaming your roboting a little bit and cutting
Well...
out.
Well, how to fix that?
That's just things.
It's just things.
that's
But yeah, it
just
keeps
things.
cutting you out.
Anyway, I'll
I mean,
try
if you
to-
follow along,
Yeah.
it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, but all of that was forgotten as Dumbledore began to speak. Several seats down from them, Fred and George were leaning forward, straining with great concentration to catch every word, so they could take every advantage.
The moment has
my God.
come.
Announced Dumbledore.
The Triwizard Tournament is about to start, but I first should inform you of a few procedures that will be followed. One champion will be chosen from each school, and this person will face 3 tasks spaced throughout the school year to give the champions time to recover from any injuries that during the previous challenges. Make no mistake, these are dangerous challenges. They will be they will test to the full of the champion's talents, intellect, cunning, skill, strength, fortitude, and courage. The competitors will be marked on how well they perform each of the tasks. The judging staff will consist of Mr. Bottomus Crouch, heading the Department of the International Cooperation, Mr. Ludwine Bagman, head of the Department of the Magical Games and Sports, one of the representatives from each of the participating schools. The champion with the highest total after all 3 tasks will win the Triwizard Cup, the thousands of Galleons prize money, and a place in magical history.
Wow.
Mr. Fitch, if you please.
That was a lot. The gray, scraggly caretaker shuffled forward carrying a very old jewel-encrusted chest and placed it on a pillar beside Dumbledore. The headmaster took out his wand and tapped the top 3 times. The legs swung open, revealing a large cup filled to the brim with dancing blue-white flames.
Ooh.
Is this Dumbledore? I think it's Dumbledore.
I think, yeah.
Behold the Goblet of Fire that will choose the champions from each school. Any student wishing to enter must write his or her name and clearly upon a slip of parchment and drop it into the flames. However, in the interest of safety, no one under the age of 17 will be permitted to enter. To guarantee this, I will draw an age line around the Goblet of Fire. Be aware that placing your name into the goblet constitutes a binding magical contract, so the tournament is not to be entered into lightly.
True.
The champions are not permitted to ask for or accept any help of any kind from the teachers to complete the tasks in the tournament.
Yep.
So think carefully.
He sounded like a demon when he said that. Haruhi said quietly.
Ew! I
Karkaov.
didn't sign up for ASMR.
Hey, it's fine. Karkaov started to
No.
round up the dumb strong students and lead them back to the ship. Fuck. The Beaubaton girls and a fair number of the Ravenclaw girls with whom they had been dining swarmed around the Oron boys, giving Harry and Ron the chance to scoot away from the elitist foreigners. Oof.
Oof.
Neville, figuring he'd never get this close to that many good-looking girls again, stayed where he was. Aww. How did he?
Don't worry, Neville. You become cute later.
Neville's good. Shit else. How did he slipped away to admire the architecture in the Great Hall? Of course you would. The girls and boys' uniforms at the school didn't look terribly different. How did he wondered if any of them would figure out if she was a girl? She was honor bound not to tell him, but if they figured it out on their own, that wasn't her problem. Hermione walked up to her. Did those guys mean what they said? About commoners, I mean. Haruhi let her breath out slowly. I don't know if you'll understand this, but have you ever seen how people raised in the magic world treat non-magical people? What do you call them in English? No-mag? Muggles? Muggles, Hermione said. Crying? Oh, wait. Ah! Okay, I just realized the connection. Anyways. Is this Hermione? Or Haruhi? I think it's Haruhi. Yeah. A lot of people in the wizarding world don't know what to do with muggles. So they often say very stupid things, even insulting things. It's kind of like that. These guys have been raised not just in the magical world, but in a very rarefied corner of it. When they say they think it's a good thing that commoners can go to a fine school like Mahotokoro, they mean it. Mahotokoro, they mean it. And their families donate a lot of money and resources to making sure it is one of the great wizarding schools in the world. But not as good as Oron, Hermione said. There's no place as good as Oron, Haruhi said. Not even Oron.
Even Oron.
If you think it's overrated, then why go? Hermione asked. Because when you get to the upper grades, they teach things no one else does. Like what, Hermione? Hermione, he couldn't help but recall Malfoy lauding dumb strong, where instead of teaching defense against the dark arts, they actually taught the dark arts. Was Oron another school like that? I guess this Haruhi. Magical research, wizarding law, magical and muggle governments, how to run a company, finance. I'm mostly there for the law. My mom was a lawyer. I mean, don't get me wrong. No one thinks this tournament is going to be a cakewalk. We are all well aware that Hogwarts trained 2 of the 3 most powerful wizards of the last century, and that Durmstrang trained the 3rd. Do you learn about the dark arts at your school? The Japanese kid considered.
Japanese kid.
I love how this is just a conversation between me and me right now.
Pretty much.
The Japanese kid considered. The combat magic class is a unit on curses and counter curses, but magic is a tool. Whether it's used for good or evil depends on the wizard, not the spell. Combat magic? It's a dangerous world, Miss Granger. Better to have a skill you never use than one you need and do not have. Damn, Haruhi.
When did Haruhi become fucking Yoda?
Exactly.
Yoda.
Before the conversation could go farther, Karkaroff's voice cut through the hall. Anybody want to...
Polakov can't even dinner without humiliating all of us in front of other schools.
Oh my God.
You full dribble down your front, disgusting boy. Come, before you embarrass us further.
Oh my God. An awkward silence filled the hall. At length, Tamaki looked sideways.
Grandmother.
You cut out! No!
Eldon. He sounds like my grandmother.
Neville said. Their eyes met.
But mine is worse.
Neville said.
You'd lose that bet.
You're right. Tamaki replied. Karkaroff led his troop to the door, arriving at the same time Harry and Ron did. The Gryffindor boys stepped back to let them pass. The Durmstrang headmaster gave him a dismissive glance and then did a double take. A grizzled old man came up behind the boy. Yeah, that's Harry Potter!
Jesus.
Harry Potter? Haruhi said. I had dinner with Harry Potter? Ron dropped. Sorry, that was scene change.
Yeah, there you go.
Next scene
Ron-
transition.
Transition.
Ron dropped into his bag. What? What?
Bed.
Ron dropped
Bed.
Bag? They don't have beds here.
From now on, all of Gryffindor must sleep in bags.
You mean they did shit in bathroom?
dropped
Listen,
into
once
his
again,
bag.
it's a late night. It's a late night live stream. We are tired.
Ron dropped into his bed with a flump.
Can you believe how snobby those orange guys are? I don't know. They seem kind of okay to me.
Neville said.
The blonde guy's got the only grandmother in the world that's even close to being as bad as mine is. It just depends on whether you think it's worse to be ignored or to get howlers all the time.
Oh, fuck. Who was Seamus?
But dude!
Oh, my, Seamus threw in.
Seamus.
Seamus.
You totally smoked them when it came to the way a grandmother dresses.
Yeah, I did.
Neville said, please buy this weird victory.
What the fuck was that scene for?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Even though it was Saturday,
Superfluous.
everybody was up early the next morning. Obviously, that's such big words right now. I can't do that.
Surreptitiously.
Surreptitiously.
Do you want me to read this?
No!
I can read the
Surreptitiously
narration parts
watching
if
the
you want me
Goblet.
to.
Hikaru and Kaoru watched as a Hogwarts boy went up, egged on by his friends, and put his name in. A Hogwarts girl sauntered across the line casually as if passing by and tossed her name in hoping no one would notice. The Durmstrong students marched up and with sharp, deliberate movements put their names in one by one, then went off to their breakfasts. The Beaubaton students gracefully glided up and offered their names as though doing the Goblet a favor, but the girls' nervous titters...
God damn it. Our age really shows here.
Like, it's like ticks.
Yeah.
You-
It's like the
As a
nervousness.
person who's taken multiple years of screenwriting and creative writing, I am offended at your laughter at the word titters.
Oh, hey, did I tell you, buddy, that I'm taking a creative writing
Oh,
course this
shit.
semester?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
don't-
making you proud, Papa Shane.
I'm proud of you.
Anyway, but the girls' nervous titters afterwards undermines much of the confidence they projected. A pair of Hogwarts boys, red-headed twins, approached the age line with identical smirks.
Jin, go!
Quick, British Hikaru! British Hikaru!
It's a smaller one. It's a smaller one.
You can be small.
What?
Do you want me to do it? The smaller one?
Do it, Shane.
No, it's literally I forgot the twins' names, not Hikaru and Kaoru.
I know
George!
one's George.
George
and
Oh fuck!
Georgie.
Fred? Was it Fred? I don't remember.
Fred,
George and
Fred, George
Fred.
and Fred. It's literally George and Fred.
Okay, but which one's smaller? Okay, fuck. You
They're
take
the
the first
same
one. I'll take the second one.
height!
Okay. You're not old enough.
Said a smaller red-headed boy.
Watch and learn, little brother.
Said one, pulling out a crystal vial.
Is that an aging potion?
The younger boy gasped. Oh, Kaoru.
Think we should tell them that girl
Oh,
tried.
wait, that was Mint!
Yeah, I played Karu,
Oh.
but it's okay, you can do it.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
I
Who's going? Okay.
think we should tell them a girl tried that an hour ago.
Kaoru said to his brother.
What? And spoil the fun?
Said Hikaru. They leaned back to watch. This is
Okay,
Fred.
then,
This is Fred.
Jin.
Yeah,
We only need a couple weeks. What do you think? 2 or 3 drops?
said the first twin.
Should do.
Said the other. They swallowed the drops, smiled at each other, and stepped across the age line. For a moment it looked like it had worked, but then the line flared bright blue and threw them across the room. Each of them sprouted a beard that grew 3 feet and turned white. Hermione, the girl Haruhi had dined with last night, looked up from her book, bored. Don't you think Dumbledore would have thought of artificial aging? She picked up her pumpkin juice and walked out of the hall. Whoa! The Hitachins grinned at each other.
You really think this will work?
Kaoru asked.
Nah.
Hikaru answered.
It'll probably combust at the age line, but watching Haruhi squawk will make it worth it.
Squawk! They imagined the amusing scene in their minds for a second.
But what if it does work?
Kaoru said.
This competition is dangerous, and she has nothing to gain from it. This is probably Hikaru.
This is Hikaru.
Okay. Be serious. Honey Senpai, Mori Senpai, Kyoya Senpai, Tamaki Senpai. The top 2 students from both Class 2 and Class 3. The cleverest, most skilled students in the school. There's no way the Goblet would pick Haruhi.
Oh, no.
About that.
Of course. Fucking
What's
course.
the title of this fanfiction again? What's the title?
Haruhi
Haruhi
Fujioka.
Fujioka and the Goblet of Fire.
Ah, man, guys.
Jeez, what a
Have to put
spoiler,
the seriously
man.
Powerful Confundus. How the fuck do you say that?
Confundus.
Confundus?
Yes.
Confundus charm on it. One big enough to screw up all the choices.
The crowd started to thin out as breakfast time ended, so the hall was thinning. What? The crowd started to thin out as breakfast time ended, so the hall was thinning out by the time their favorite toy arrived. Oh.
Oh, that's the twins' point of view.
Ew.
Hey, Haruhi, come here. You have to sign this.
Sign what? I guess that's Kaoru.
Okay. See, this is what
That's what we're talking about.
They don't say who's reading. They think that they can do the back and forth thing, but that only works between whatever.
Again, as a screenwriting student, I'm offended.
Yeah.
It's an honor pledge not to cheat while we're here, since we'll be taking classes at their school and all.
That's kind of offensive, Haruhi said as she sat down.
They're making all the visiting students sign one.
Hikaru said, handing her a quill. She signed the parchment and slid it back.
You have such pretty handwriting,
Kaoru said.
And you're going to make such a good champion.
Hikaru said, waving his hand over the parchment. The top half with the writing separated neatly, leaving a small square with Haruhi Fujioka or an academy written on it. He waved his wand again, and the paper began to fold itself up. What? She shrieked. It was everything they imagined. You can't get over the age line, she said frantically. Several students have tried. Nothing under the age of 17 can get across.
That's why we use 18-year-old parchment.
Hikaru said.
And 20-year-old ink,
Kaoru said. The parchment square, meanwhile, had folded itself up into an origami crane and begun flapping its wings. She lunged for it and missed as the startled bird took flight. The twins were holding their sides with laughter as she ran around the room, jumping on tables and benches trying to catch the thing before it soared past her over the age line and into the fire. An enormous flare went up and settled back down. You jerks! The twins at least had the decency to look astonished. Well...
Well, didn't think it would work.
Well, it did. Don't worry,
I think
Haru. There's no way it'll pick you over the others.
Hikaru said.
I think the well it did was supposed to be Haruhi.
Oh,
I guess.
maybe. Oh, okay, it's true.
It makes sense.
Tamaki had declared at breakfast that the castle was magnificent, but he was sure he would get lost, which immediately resulted in 6 girls offering him a complete tour. 3 of those girls are Bobatons. They don't even go here. He doesn't even go here. Haruhi murdered. Murdered.
Murdered?
Murder. She got jealous.
Oh, Kyoya,
This is a
go!
Yandere timeline.
Kyoya, please.
They're probably just hoping to ditch the others and get lost with Tamaki.
Kyoya eyed her with some amusement.
You're being uncharacteristically sour. Should I tell our king that you're jealous?
No! No! By the time lunch rolled around, their entourage of girls had more than doubled. There was barely room at the table for Harry and Ron. It wasn't just the Gryffindor girls, but it was the Bobaton girls and the Ravenclaw girls and Ron nudged Harry.
Isn't that Malfoy's girlfriend?
Oh shit!
Malfoy's gonna drop some bombs!
Sure enough, Pansy Parkinson was sitting next to one of the Oron twins. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Instead of her customary sneer, she had a smile that almost made her look attractive.
Damn.
Damn.
Oh boy, you
Do
ready?
you reckon Malfoy's noticed?
Ron said. They looked around the hall.
Oh, yeah.
Harry answered. They're at the Slytherin table / Draco Malfoy, glaring at the Gryffindor table. Lips compressed, the purple slowly building up on his face. He got up and stalked over. Please, can I be Draco?
Go for
Do
it.
it.
You're
Do
at the
it.
wrong table, Parkinson. The Gryffindors don't want you here. The better table is over there. Tamaki looked up with those violet blue eyes of his. Where the hell did a
Violet
Japanese
blue
kid get blue eyes from anyway? He's half-breed! Anyways,
Is there a problem, young man? Surely a lady as lovely as Miss Parkinson is welcome anywhere.
he looked over at his Gryffindor hosts.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Said Ron, just to annoy Malfoy.
Professor McGonagall told us
my
that we should
God.
get to know all
Okay,
the visiting students. Didn't Professor,
Holy shit.
didn't Professor Snape tell you the same?
Oh my
Harry did not say that.
Harry,
with a
I
straight
don't
face.
remember you being a 30-year-old like
I
Cockney
didn't-
man.
Right, please.
Oh my god,
Oh,
Harry,
right, is it?
Harry said with a straight face. Ron?
Oh shit! Sorry, I was distracted.
And it would be rude.
And it would be rude to hog your guest all to yourself.
Ron glanced meaningfully over at the Slytherin table and the dumb strong students in Crumb. Malfoy didn't miss the meaning, but he still felt he had the prize. Oh, I wasn't about to give it up. He turned a sneering smile to Ron and Harry and said, "Of course, I just wanted to be sure that Miss Parkinson was being well treated over here. The Gryffindors have such poor manners." Thomas looked from Katie to Alicia in surprise.
I have found them to be utterly charming.
Oh my god. When Pansy made no move to leave the table, Draco gave a curt nod. As I said, just checking. He started He's bitter. He started to walk off when the short blonde Japanese student grabbed his arm and said in a quiet voice, "Oh shit. Wait, no, it's Honey." You might want to be cautious where you give insult, little boy. Tamachan is slow to take offense, but that is not the case with everyone.
Little boy.
Said Ron to Harry, savoring the look of Draco's wounded pride.
I just
Right.
forgave them everything last night.
Malfoy slunk back into his seat and glared back at the Japanese students. Who do those old guys think they are anyway?
We're fucking sexy.
Oh no!
Fucking sexy.
Crumb. Who wants to speak Crumb?
Wait, which one's Crumb? What does Crumb sound
That's
like?
remember
again?
the dude that danced with Hermione?
Oh yeah,
That's
the rather attractive dude.
Okay.
He was also on the national Quidditch team.
Yeah.
You do not know?
Crumb answered him.
They are the sons of the richest, most powerful families in Japan. Oran is one of the most famous schools in Asia. The Oran Quidditch captain,
Takashi
Kuze. Wait, which one's Kuze? Which one is Kuze?
When they get the manga, okay. Takashi Kuze
Yeah, they got the
is
manga.
the president of the American Football Club.
Oh yeah! Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Takashi Kuze is also the first alternate chaser for the Japanese national Quidditch team. I played against him last year, and one of their chasers, Vass, knocked out by a bludger. We talked after, so I owl him when I hear Oran coming. He say not chosen, but is the grammar broken up? Like what the?
Yeah,
I know he has an accent.
He has an accent.
He has like a
Not
he has like a
chosen, but
German
tell me.
like a European German
Ah,
accent.
Mhm.
it's here. He say not chosen, but tell me about the ones who were. He say the ones with glasses is quicker and clever, a noble opponent, and a complete jerk. Thinks the tall blonde is probably an impasse because he always seems to know everybody's feeling.
Oof.
The very tall black-haired one can communicate with animals and might be a seer. He always knows what's going to happen, even though he does nothing to stop it. The short blonde one may be the most dangerous
Oof.
combat wizard living, but nobody knows for certain. He only spars.
Yeah.
In competitions, he does not only beat his opponents, and nothing more.
Dinner that night was a tense affair, with everyone excited or nervous, or in the case of one Japanese student, still furious. The twins sauntered in, took one look at Haruhi, and moved to sit on the other side of Kyoya and Mori just to be safe. which put them in proximity to another pair of red-headed twins. Oh shit.
Oh, damn.
You look better with beards.
Oh, Hikaru said. Ah, shit. Who was George and who was
wait,
Fred?
Wait,
At least we have beards.
Fred answered back.
Did you guys even try?
The Hitachis looked at each other guilty.
1 and a 2 and a 3.
You guys are so dead. Haruhi muttered down the table.
Haruhi?
Kyoya said in that patronizing voice of his.
It's rude to speak in Japanese when our guests do not.
Oh shit.
No, you gotta read that in Japanese. Bree.
But
You
they,
guys are so dead.
if you knew. What? Kyoya merely raised an eyebrow. Her shoulders slumped. Yes, Kyoya-senpai. The Weasley
Time for twins.
What's
this senpai?
The Weasley twins wanted to know. It's a term of respect that younger students use to address their older, wiser, and more experienced fellows. The Weasleys looked at each other. Oh my god!
3, 2, 1. Excellent! Hey, Ron, from now on you have to call us Fred Senpai and George Senpai.
Oh my god.
No way.
Said Ron.
You gotta!
Said Fred.
It's part of our cultural exchange with the Japanese students.
You're gonna make Harry do it.
Course not.
George
Harry-
said.
Harry's cool.
Oh my
y'all.
god.
Fuck you.
Harry's
Whatever
cool.
rejoinder Ron had been about to come up with was silence when Dumbledore rose.
Oh, God.
The time has come. The Goblet of Fire will make its selection momentarily. I will remind you all that entering your name into the goblet constituted a binding magic contract, and that dire things will befall anyone who tries to get out of it. I hope you all thought about it most carefully.
I lost the place. Okay, the Goblin
Most
picked that moment.
carefully.
The Goblin picked that moment to flare dramatically, as if emphasizing Dumbledore's words. It settled back down, and Dumbledore continued.
Once selection has been made, each champion will go to the side of the chamber, there where he or she will receive further instructions.
He gestured to a door just off of the staff table. Dumbledore stepped to one side, leaving the goblet the center of attention. He waited patiently while the cup took its sweet time. Then the blue flames turned scarlet. A stream of sparks flew outward, pushing a small piece of paper with it. Dumbledore caught it midair and read aloud.
The champion for Durmstrang will be Victor Crumb.
What?
Yeet.
Crumb pumped his fist in victory and rose as several of his friends clouded his shoulder in congratulations. He walked forward, past the teachers and visiting judges, and went through the door into the room beyond. After another dramatic pause, the blue flames again turned red, and a second scrap of parchment flew out into Dumbledore's waiting my fingers?
The champions for the Beauxbatons will be Fleur Delacour.
The girl with the shimmering blonde hair rose gracefully from her seat, graciously bowed, and moved to the small room. Again, the goblet paused as if it was considering before turning red once more.
The champion for Hogwarts will be Cedric Diggory.
Yeah! The Hufflepuff came all erupted in cheers! Woo! So loud only Harry and Ron heard Fred say,
You don't think hosting a foreign school disqualified us, do you?
What do you care?
said Ron.
Your name's never even made it in.
The Japanese students alone were left filled with tension until the goblet turned red once more. Dumbledore?
Wait, what was it again?
The champion.
Where-
for
Champion
Oron.
of
Oh yeah.
Champion Goron.
The champion for Oron will be...
Dumbledore said as the paper fluttered downwards. He opened the paper and froze. Nani?
Harry Potter?
What?
The Japanese students turned to Harry. Their headmaster rose and angrily demanded.
I had
Is
Daddy
this-
Senior Tom.
What insult is this?
What insult is this? He is not a student of our school, not even of age to compete.
Wait, no,
Did you?
it's Yuzuru.
Yeah, it's Tamaki's
It's
dad.
Daddy Tamaki. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot what he fucking sounds like.
Which is he's basically daddy version of Tamaki.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gross.
That's
So go
still-
Tamaki, and then take it down lower and
Lo-
be
lower,
more
lower,
fucking
lower,
pissed off and shit.
and older.
I don't think.
Just do like an old man voice, honestly.
Do your old miner voice.
What? That's not Yuzuru. Hello.
What insult is this? He's not a student of our school, nor even of age to compete. Did you invite us here to insult us?
Even Karkaroff and Maxime were appalled at the treachery.
Please,
Said Dumbledore.
if we adjourn to the other room, we can attempt to sort through this.
As he gestured to the door, the goblet again turned red. One more piece of parchment emerged when it settled into Dumbledore's hand. The flame in the goblet went out.
Haruhi, Fujioka, Oron Academy.
Hey, that's me, bitch!
Bum bum
That's
bum
me,
ba-dum,
bitch.
bum bum.
Haruhi, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Just put your name in the fire! Chapter
Haruhi,
3.
did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Whoa!
Chapter
Sonic!
3.
Sonic!
Sonic, you mother!
10 years!
You guys are late.
Oh my god!
What a douche!
We're streaming right now.
Oh my god, guys, I'm so sorry.
We were supposed to.
Okay.
Ah!
Well, Sonic, now your duty is to go on to the fan fiction.
Now we're reading a Harry Potter fan fiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
But I wanted to
With
play.
Oron.
Come
Well,
on.
should we stop the stream and play?
I kind of want to.
Yes.
Would everyone
Is,
be
the
like?
ender of
We
stream.
kind of just finished the chapter, so it's a good
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you-
it's
you can
perfect.
tell
I was
you
gonna
it's the
say it's the
perfect
perfect time to stop if we're going to.
Well,
Yeah.
honestly, if you guys want
Goodbye,
us to continue, we will maybe do another late night stream whenever we feel like it. Just
Yeah.
remind us that this was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But
I swear to God.
Anyway,
All right,
Becomes, like,
we're
super
off
popular.
to throttle our lovely voice actor for Kaoru here.
yeah. Anyways, we love you guys so much. Thank you so much
We love
for watching
you. Thanks
episode
for
5.
Sonic, what the fuck is wrong?
Episode